Hey everybody, Todd Martin here, your local Louisville real estate broker, coming to you live from the offices of the AMP Property Group here with EXP in bright and sunny Louisville, Kentucky, maybe. As I'm shooting this, it's a little gray outside, but hey, I wanted to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Hope you're doing well, and hope things are going well. Coming to you, kind of after the first of the year with the new decade and starting out new plans, and I hope everybody is sticking to your guns this year. So we're going to jump into today's topic, and what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about what you can learn about selling unsellable homes from there's a new HGTV series out there called Unsellable Homes, and we're going to kind of compare that to the realistic effort of selling homes. What do you think, JC? Are you on board with that?
I'm ready. I'm on board. Let's do this.
So JC, you're in Nebraska, right?
Yes, it's miserable.
So tell the beautiful people in Louisville kind of what type of weather you're having there right now.
I believe it's about 28 degrees, but we actually have a high of, I think, 38 today. So
hey,
it's above freezing.
So Louisville's not too bad. We're kind of gray and rainy, but we're staying in the 40s and 50s. So we're doing okay.
I'd say you're doing pretty well.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, hey, let's jump into it. So what questions do you think as home sellers, that should be out there on the market looking at?
Well, just basing it off of, I know we mentioned HGTV program, selling unsellable homes. Mm-hmm. Whether you love HGTV, whether you think these shows are bogus, whether you love them,
right?
I think the first good question would be, how does it mirror the real world from your experience?
Well, that's an awesome question, because here's the thing. When I take people out to buy homes, I tell them, I'm like, look, don't think this is going to be all HGTV, okay? I've been interviewed by HGTV about 3 times in my career so far. We never made the show, unfortunately, with the properties that I had, but again, a lot of this stuff is all staged and performed, especially when people are buying houses. Now, when people are selling homes, it's a little bit different. They've got to find some sellers, and it takes a little bit more to get a property sold than it does to purchase a property with a buyer. And I really think that, if we're looking at, how does it mirror, we have to look at kind of the happenstance that this program is kind of going after. And really, kind of the first thing that we're getting into is we're talking about the listing price, okay? I know we're hearing the term seller's market a lot, but you've got to understand, really, you've got to get smart about the listing price, okay? Because again, the show is called Unsellable Homes, and they're selling these homes. And usually the number one reason is the price of the property. And I understand that there's been a lot of love in some of these properties, and in a good majority of the sale situations that I get into as a real estate broker, is that there is a lot of emotion that comes into selling a house. And I always tell people, there's really one of the main things that you have to do is you've got to take your heart out of the house, okay? You've got to understand that is going to be somebody's new place of residence. You enjoyed it, now it's time for somebody else to enjoy it. And just because your kids grew up there doesn't mean it's worth $10,000 more. So you've got to understand and get realistic with the price that's selling. Now, with that being said, and we're talking about kind of, again, with the emotion that comes along with selling a property, because it can be a very stressful time, is you've got to make sure that you're not the problem, okay? Now, what I mean by that is, as a seller of a property, you really need to give the buyers carte blanche on when they come to look at the house. So things like not being present for the buyer's agent to walk through with their buyers, making sure that you've got all animals out of the way. Don't be too limited in your time frame. And I understand that in some cases it's tough. You've got families, you've got small children, but you never know when that right buyer is going to come on. So for that short period of time that you're going to be selling the house, try to be or make the house as available as possible. And again, get out of the way. Let your agent do their job and take yourself out of that property and understand that somebody is coming in to create memories as well. So far, so good, JC, on that. It's kind of making sense as we're kind of coming along with that.
Definitely. I guess just off those first 2 points you kind of made, what can you expect as a seller, just selling in your market, just based off that advice alone?
Well, okay, so we're sticking kind of with the HGTV theme here, right? And we noticed that on all the houses on HGTV, they pretty much are top notch, right? Everything's in place, everything looks good. Again, we're talking realistically about families living in houses to sell houses to buy another house. And the second thing that I always tell people is that, the hardest thing to do is to live in a house without living in a house, meaning that the beds have to be made, the dishes have to be put away, okay? The kids' stuff has to be picked up. It's difficult. And as a seller, you've got to understand that you're going to have to do some work. Now, when we see the HGTV houses, most of them are staged, and they're staged to sell, okay? And when you get into staging can be a rather costly investment depending on kind of and you have to base it on the sales price of the home. Do you need to rent furniture? Do you need to pick things up? And again, it's all case by case situation. Now, if you're somebody that needs a full furniture suite in there, that can get a little bit pricey. But when you stage to sell, those can be things like, guess what? All you have to do is you simply have to go and take the things that you already know and clean them up. Okay. So again, changing, maybe getting some new bed sheets, maybe getting a new rug, looking at your color schematics. One of the things that, and I try to tell people, don't put good money after bad. But if you've got something that needs to be taken care of, like a hole in the wall, fix that. Fix that and take care of it. So stage it as if you wanted to see it as through a buyer's eyes, okay? Again, concentrate on your curb appeal outside. It's probably one of the easiest things that you can do to get people inside the house, because they're figuring if it looks good outside, it must be good on the inside. So spend a little bit of extra time, money, a weekend, cleaning it up. Right now during this gray, rainy weather, you don't have to worry so much about the greenery and refreshing the mulch, but it should be clean, and you may have to sweep the steps or make sure that you don't have leaves piling up and things like that. The other thing is presentation. You've got to have professional pictures done, okay? It's a big difference from going from professional pictures, and I know everybody talks about, doing it on your cell phone, all those fun things, but here's the thing. If you don't have professional pictures taken, how can it be presented in the best light? And that, we as brokers and realtors, we want to make sure that our clients are professionally represented and represented in a positive light. And I can't tell you how many times that I've walked in, and I'm not saying be deceitful in your pictures, but be honest in your pictures. Because I've walked in with buyers before and they go, wow, the room really, really, really looked a lot larger in the photos, right? That's because the photographer got down in the corner, he shot from an angle, he used a fisheye lens. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying make sure that the colors are bright, that you can see the detail and the definition, and that it really is inviting in for a buyer to do that. Now, the other thing that we tend to run into quite a bit are smells. And I've covered this topic before, but you don't have to go crazy with potpourri. But if somebody, or if you're selling the house and you're a smoker, or you're selling the house for a relative who was a smoker, it might behoove you to clean that smell out. One of the biggest complaints that I get from my buyers are pet odors. I can't tell you how many times we walked into a house, had a whiff of an animal, and they turned around and walked out and said, I can't even take this. Even though the house was a good deal, they're like, I don't want to deal with the cleanup. Okay. Worst smelling animals, I think, are unemptied hamster cages. Okay. I don't know if you ever had a hamster, JC, as a kid growing up, but
I did actually have a hamster.
Okay.
My sister and I both got a hamster, and they ended up reproducing, and we had about 20 hamsters before the end of the month.
Well, those little wood chippings, and they've got a strong odor if you don't clean up those wood chippings. The same way with cat boxes, or Fido that's laid in a one spot. It's tough. And living in the house, you tend to become immune to those smells, right? You get used to it. But as soon as people walk in, they do that. So again, spend a little money in deodorizing and making sure it's clean. But it's like I said, don't go crazy. Don't put potpourri all over the place. Don't put blade plugins in every electrical outlet that you have, because the second part of that is that people come out and they're like, is that pumpkin spice I'm tasting? What is that? Is that holiday spirit? So you've got to be careful. There's a medium in there for that.
Yeah. So just based off what you kind of talked about so far, what do you think is the number one thing that sellers should do in order to get a house sold, just based off of this?
JC, I'm glad you asked that question, because I do have the number one thing for you. And this is not being boastful, but being in the business for 15 years, the number one thing that sellers need to do to get their house sold is they need to listen to their realtor. Okay. And it's important they do that, because here's the thing. You hire us to represent you, and we're going to represent you in the best light and as professional as possible, as professional as you expect us to represent you. Now, here's the other thing. We know the tips and tricks. We know the ins and outs. You have a busy life. Continue with your life and let us do the job of selling your house for you. And really, everything up above, that we just talked about, I'm going to go over that with you. I'm going to tell you what needs to be done. We'll walk through. We'll do, kind of a soft home inspection to see what things need to be done. We'll go inside. We'll go outside. We'll get it all done. We'll compile that list to help you sell the house for the best possible price in the shortest period of time. And I think, one of the things that sellers have to understand, because I tell people this all the time, I'm not a mechanic. That's why I go to a mechanic. And I rely on that mechanic's expert advice and expertise to help me through whatever situation that I'm having with my car, right? And again, the same thing here, where we're going to help you with our specialty and expertise in the market and experience. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So JC, do you have any other questions, or, did we cover it? What do you think we hit or missed?
I think you just hit it on that last one, especially because if the client's happy, you're happy, everybody's happy, right? There's no reason for you not to get the house sold for the best dollar, or work with them to make it the easiest, possible situation. So.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we want. We want our clients to be able to continue on with what they're doing on a daily basis. And we want to make sure that they know and understand that we've got their best interest in mind. So with that being said, folks, I do appreciate you taking time to watch this blog. I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Show your house some love. Take care of it. It'll take care of you for years to come. And of course, we'd be happy to talk to you anytime. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to do that below, or reach out to me anytime at 502-220-HOME, or that's 220-4663. And if you happen to know anybody that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, please don't keep me a secret. I'm here to help. Always happy to chat. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.